Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me for today's Seer showcase. I'm joined today by Bruce Buxton from North52, and hopefully over the course of this showcase, Bruce will be able to demonstrate North52's flagship solution, the North52 Decision Suite. It's a native add-on for Microsoft Dynamics and for the Power Platform. And North52's Decision Suite is a business rules engine and automated testing solution that it allows you to easily add complex business rules without the need for any development or hard coding. Bruce, thank you very much for joining us. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you. Hopefully this is all going to go well for the rest of the day.
Sure it will.
Oh, sure it will, absolutely. So Bruce hopefully will show us today that the Decision Suite allows for easy creation of decision logic and execution of these Excel-like formulas within the Microsoft D365 platform, business applications, and Power Pages. With this powerful tool, businesses are able to streamline their processes, maximize their efficiency, and drive innovation across their operations. So Bruce, no pressure, but I'm going to hand over to you in a second to provide us with a demo of all of those things. Are you up for it?
Fantastic. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for joining us. Let's see the magic in action.
Absolutely. Well, just a few slides to set the scene. North52's, as Dan said, is a business rules engine with an automated testing suite as well. And North52's been doing this for a number of years now. What we do is simplify the way that we built complex logic within Dynamics 365. Started this in Seer 2011, so lots of history there. And over the years, we've built out a really comprehensive and robust rules engine that you can use for any of your complex logic. One thing I'd like to point out really is that, it's a tool that really complements, enhances the Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. It's not in place of what Microsoft provides. It's really a tool that allows you to do more, do things more quickly, and leverage complexity without using custom code. And that's how we do that. And you'll see in the demo shortly is that we've got things called rule-based decision tables. We've got over 500 Excel-like functions that will cater for most users' complex requirements. And alongside our automated rules engine, we have an automated testing suite as well. We won't have time to go into that, but anyone that is interested in that side of things can drop me a line and learn some more about it. Now, the question we get asked a lot is, when do you use North52? Well, the idea really is when you have got complex requirements that will probably enable you to have to write some sort of code. So whenever that sort of condition is met, then you should be thinking about North52. Following on for that is, well, why not Power Automate Flow? It's very comprehensive and flexible, but what we've found and our customers have found, and also this is a sort of a quote from a Microsoft MVP as well, the flows are very great for targeted tasks, but they become really messy and difficult to maintain when the logic gets complicated. Hopefully, when we see North52 in a couple of minutes, you'll see how we can simplify some complex decision logic. Now, what is North52? Well, it's kind of unique in the sense that it's a business rules engine that runs inside the Dynamics sandbox. And this is really important because it means you don't have any additional servers or security to set up outside of your Dynamics environment that you've already acquired. So without further ado, let's jump into actually going to see what North52's engine is all about. So what we have is an app here for the North52 Decision Suite, and we have the ability to create formulas, schedules, Xcache records, which I can talk about a bit later on, and then we've got other capabilities down here around tests as well. Here, the first demo is have a look at a very simplified scenario of decisioning logic for a credit card application, specifically for someone who is going to apply, and what are their needs to get to sort of a platinum level credit card. So list of formulas, as you can see here, we're right in sort of Dataverse here, Dataverse records. And I'm just searching for the formula. When that pops up, hopefully the system is running extremely slow for this demo, unfortunately. And once that pops up, we can see here we've got some number of formulas here. The one that we're looking for here is our eligibility for the Platinum card. Now, North52 rules, they execute generally when you make a change to a record and you want some decision logic to fire. That could be on save of a record. That also can be on change of the field, so client side. And it can also mean that you can trigger rules externally from external systems via custom actions. And I'll show you how we do that as well with an example in a minute. So this one here is a formula of save perform action. And we want this to trigger on the contact entity when certain properties are changed. And we can see here, annual income is one of those properties, or it's a column or a field, as people might know it. And once that trigger has happened, we start executing the decision logic, which is based in these conditional tables here, a decision table. So we're looking at annual income, total assets of the applicant, and credit score. And we're using those attributes to determine the outcome here, whether someone is eligible for the Platinum credit card. So if we swing across to our demo record, which is complete, we should be able to change a value and execute the logic in that decision table. So on the right-hand side, when this loads, we've got some information regarding credit cards. And from 100 to 165, because I know that's my trigger point. And once that has been saved, the North52 logic will invoke as well. Just waiting for the rest of the form to load here. It's unfortunately taking a little bit of time before I can send this on its way to a trigger. Still waiting for timeline to load. Everything is taking. And then we've got the loading of another thing, another component, which is the same. Quick, put the save on here. So what we're going to do is we're taking into account the annual income, the assets here, the credit score, and this field here, which is locked to the end user, is going to be changed based on the North52 business rules. So we can see here now, we're now eligible for. We can see our annual income was 120,000, so we're not going to have a match on row 4, 5, 6, but we get to row 7 and we say, is it between 100 and 150,000? Yes, it is. Let's go and look at the conditions around our applicant's assets, and then our credit score here of 164. So it was over 100, we were 165, so we matched that condition as well. So therefore, we're able to set our credit card type to Platinum. Now, the beauty of these decision tables is they're really easy to build and maintain. So if I want to insert another condition, I can just simply right-click, insert a condition, and then I can add values from other fields on the entity here. So maybe one we wanted to check, for example, would be credit hold. We want to make sure that those customers aren't on credit hold. So we can simply just point and click, add that to our decision table here, and we're going to say we don't want them to be on hold as a condition. And I can simply drag that down to apply that condition to all parameters there. Inserting another condition here, one thing we can do is go and look at related entities. So if we want to go up to the parent account and look at information there, we can do that as well. So we can open up the parent account here, look at the relationship here, the parent customer ID, and then use any attributes that we have on that record. And we can go higher up the tree as well. We can go as many levels as we need. So, for example, maybe the country region we want to test. In this case, nice and easy, we'll just do UK in here. And again, I just want to apply those rules to all all rows in this table, so I can quickly do that. One final check we might want to do is the person's age. Now, the person's age is stored in the database as their date of birth, and we actually want to base our calculations on whether they're over 18 or not. So what we can do there is we can use one of our many functions, and one of them being date difference, very similar to what you'd find in Excel. We've got date diff function here. We hover over it, it tells us a little bit about what that function does, the input values, etc. in there. And then we've also got what we call our function wizards here that allow us to fill this in very quickly and easily. And here it's going to be the birthday. We can see here that we're putting in schema names. So if someone changes the name of a field, the North52 rules will continue to execute as well. When we're dealing with dates and we're doing comparisons, and I want to compare to the time of execution, I use the UTC date time, or UTC date in this case, because we're only just doing years. And then I want to specify years as my interval here. I simply click generate. And then behind the scenes, that's created a function for me that I can now add in here, and it does the calculation, so greater than 18. And you can see now that we've taken sort of 36 decision points right up to a bit new now, and complicated our criteria somewhat, more complex than it was initially. Still very easy to read. Things are added together by default, but if we want to do things like condition or, we can simply add that in here and make the any and all condition. These rows, you can have, we've only got sort of 15 rows of data here. We can have hundreds, even thousands of rows of data in these if we need to. So what we're doing here, we've done the conditions, we're then doing an update, and maybe what we want to do is an update. We want to do more than one update. We want to set a credit limit as well. So what we can do that very easily. Again, point and click on our source tree here, find the credit limit field. Let's look at that and point on, click on that one. And maybe I want to make the limit a factor of the person's in. So again, just find that field in our list here, annual income, and I might make that a factor of say 10%, 0.1. And we can bring that down, and maybe we've got different factors for different levels of clientele here. Maybe our high net worth individuals get slightly higher credit limit. So you can see it's very easy to build out this decision logic. And then when the real power comes is when this becomes even more complex, and you've got not only it's not only for your platinum card, but it's also for your gold and silver and things like that. So what we can do is we can simply insert a duplicate decision table here, and there's a copy of our, and this could be our gold, and then we change all the logic in here, and these would be our gold card, and we would change that as well. And then the decision logic executes from left to right, so it'll try and do platinum. If it doesn't find a match there, it will go through to gold, silver, bronze, however many you need to. And there's no limit. We've got customers that have got well over 50 decision sheets within a rule for some of their really complex logic. So that gives you an idea of how we build up that logic. What I want to show you now is how we apply this decision table logic to many different examples within the Power Platform. So we're going to be looking at UI components. We're going to be working with BPF, business process flows, Power Apps, custom pages, and portals, hopefully, if we've got time. First of all, I'm just going to do a couple of show a couple of examples of where we've got North52 working on the client side. So this is decision logic being executed on load or on change of the form values. And as this particular count form loads, we have got a number of going on. See here, we've got a real-time which is calculating all the invoices system, and if it's over a particular limit, then message. Now, if I was a preferred customer, and that change that, we can see that message has disappeared now. It only applies to our standard customers. On our right-hand side here, we've got a piece of North52 logic, which allows us to create decision-based buttons or actions that people can interact with. So, for example, here, if I change the competitor to a consultant, the types of actions that someone can do has now changed based on the consultant. And in the middle of the screen here, we've got something called North52 quick tiles. Each one of these tiles here is represented by a decision table, and the logic in that decision table is ultimately up to the end user, but we're saying things like overdue invoices here, we're going to color those red. We've got an opportunity that's due in 5 days, that's green. Our most recent email is over a threshold, so it's now sort of amber. But these are very, very good, useful indicators for users to get quick information based on decision logic. And that's real time. It's updated every time the form is loaded. The next piece of functionality we want to look at is what we're working with business process flow. What we've got here is ability for to formula to execute our case entity. So I'm just going to create a new case. Need that one there. And when this case is created and it's of a particular type, the North52 rules engine and logic is going to kick in. So let's just do demo case here. And we're going to choose it. It's going to be a new claim. And type a date in there. And on save, we're going to be executing a North52 formula, which is going to create some checklist items in here based on the information that we have given here, a type of new claim. And we'll see as this loads, we've got some tasks that someone needs to do here. And so this is interacting with this phone with formula here. So we've got this as a save action. It's being triggered on the phone to case process entity, which is the BPF entity, when the active change stage changes here. And we can see here that we're currently on the identify stage. The case type is new claim. So therefore, we want to create the 3 records here. And we're just setting them very as part of this decision table logic. Now, if I try this forward, we have got some additional logic, which is validating these claims. So if I try and click on next stage, it tries to save the record and move forward. But we've got a North52 validation rule here saying there are open tasks in the identify stage. So we're working alongside the business process flow here. So if I now complete these tasks, I just need to go through quickly, complete them one by one. And now I'm in a position that I can now move that business process flow through. And we're popping up these real-time validations. If there's no validation passes, then it moves through to the next part of that decision table that we were looking at when on the research phase. If we go back to our decision logic here, we can see on the research phase, new claim, we're going to have 2 new tasks that have been created. We come back to our checklist here, and yes, here we go. We can see those tasks are created. If we try and move forward again, it's not going to let us go through. So that's North52 working with business process flows and doing validation and creating records as we move through those sections. Now we want to go and have a look at North52 working with Power Apps, and this has become a lot easier recently with a new release of Power Apps where we can now trigger actions directly with environmental variables. The new environmental function, and it's a preview at the moment, but it's working really well from what we have seen so far. So what we have in our scenario here is a standalone coronary heart disease checker app. It's got a number of rules in behind the scenes, and once this loads up, we'll be able to execute that app and the North52 rules loading in. While that loads, we can load. Okay, we have one loaded already, which is good, and just waiting for this Power App to load. And we have got a switch on this particular app that we can trigger to execute the rules either as part of a Power Automate flow or a a custom action. And the difference is actually there's quite a lot of speed difference. So we'll have a look at that in a second. So if I just say I'm a current smoker and I've got a family history here, I'll leave all the other ones here. I'm going to click calculate risk. At the moment, we're using the Power Automate flow. We can see that took about 1.2 seconds to calculate, and the North52 business logic has come back and it's returned this information back to the Power App. So what we're doing in this example is we're offloading some of the complex decision-making logic out of the Power App and into North52. If I turn this on and use the custom action, let's just say I don't do any exercise, and then I click the button again, we can see that the execution was almost instantaneous. So the difference between using custom action and Microsoft Flow is significant. So we can here see we've got 4 different risks here. Now, how does that get called in North52? Well, we have a formula type here called action. We pass in the information from the Power App as a JSON string, and North52 interprets that and then sends an output back. So we can see here we've got a decision table here for smoking and determining whether we have a smoke risk. We have got lifestyle risks in here as well. So we can separate all these rules onto different decision tables. It makes it really easy to use and maintain. And we've got all these different cases that we're testing for. And then what we're doing is we've got another final decision sheet here that uses all those different outputs from each of the risk factors here to generate a risk score and a message. And so each time we have a true on any of these lines here, we're incrementing a risk score by 1, apart from here, which is a mitigating factor, -1. And we are outputting a message back to the Power App. So this message here actually gets displayed on screen, this table here. Now, how is that being called? So that's being called by a custom action. If we go into the Power App itself, hopefully I had this all loaded before. It looks like it's going to read it. So hopefully we'll be able to see on where the button is selected. We'll see the little piece of PowerFX logic that we need to put in place to call out to North52 and retrieve the results back into the Power App. So waiting for that to load. It's very simple to do. Once you've set up the custom action, the custom action has 2 different parameters. We send JSON format in, and we receive that back out. And Power Apps can interpret that JSON, put it into a collection that we can then render out into that table that we saw just before.
So Bruce, while that's loading,
it's taken a while to load this app up. Really want to show you where it is being output. And as I mentioned before, this has become a lot easier due to a new piece of functionality, which is in preview now, which lets Power Apps call custom actions directly rather than via Microsoft Flow. Effectively means it's in real time. Results of a couple hundred milliseconds for the North52 formulas to execute, versus if it was going via Flow, usually about between 1 and 3 seconds, sometimes up to 15 seconds, depending on how long the flow takes to run. So it's certainly a lot quicker. It looks like I decided to come in here. So our risk button. So the on select of that. There we go. We on select. Hopefully we come down. Yeah, on select is selected. Oh, yep, it's finally taking. And we see here, if we just expand this a little bit more, so this is all the data being collected. So this is all the formula data being collected, all the different things we're sending through. But really, it's this line here that we're interested in here. Very easy. We're putting the results into a variable, and we're using the environment and calling our action. We're sending through the formula data that we've collated from the app, and then we're receiving an output back. So really simple. It's the only line you need to call a North52 formula, send some information through to it, and retrieve it back. So it means you can offload all that complex logic out of the Power App, put it into North52, maintain it in a visual decision table editor, and not necessarily have to try and code that in your Power App. So hopefully that's very useful for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Related to Power Apps is the ability to within apps allow you to build really dynamic interface that are unique to your requirements. So one of the things that we have modeled up is the ability to calculate insurance premiums, and those calculations are really complex. They often, they take into account lots of things to do with age, location, what coverages you have in the policy, etc. So this is a custom page, and I can come in here and choose, a couple of policy types or coverage options that I want to compare. I can say, well, when do I want this policy to start? So it's today, and let's just give Joe Smith a name in here. I can add multiple beneficiaries if I want to. Put their birth date in there. And when I click calculate premiums, so this is a custom page now going and calling North52, and it's calling, and again, we're using that same action process. It goes off in and there's different policies, the gold and silver or gold and bronze that we selected, and then it's going to return back values. What that is doing, having come back already, which is good. So we can see here our bronze premium is $133, our gold premium is $205, and we can see here that all these items in red are not covered. All the items in green and their gold are covered. So I can either select the gold, or I can go with my other one here, and I can then click create quote. And that's going to, again, kick in and use North52 formulas in behind the scenes in here. So what is actually being utilized is in behind the scenes. So in our gold policy here, these are all our coverages, all the different things we have coverages, policy terms, whether it's on a per tooth basis, how much claim you're allowed, how much deductible percentage is there, what is the limits per person, etc. All that information is combined with what we call North52 Xcash data tables. So again, these look like decision tables, except these are what we call kind of lookup tables or rating tables for insurance purposes. And we can see in here we've got different age groups, different inclusions, so different types of treatments that you have in here, what the base rates are, what is the premium for each of those ages, whether the discount applied, and all of those factors are taken into account through the North52 decision logic to calculate that premium. And then once that has been done, see here it'll create a quote in the background. Again, North52 logic is being used to do that. So we've got absolutely no custom code being run in any of these demo scenarios here, where we're doing all that calculation, creating all these records in behind the scenes, setting the policy information. So one of the other things we want to load up once we can the quote here for the policy is the ability to present some of that information using a feature of North52, which is our quick tile templates where you can customize templates for the output that you want. Just waiting for that to load up here. It's under our coverage. Here's a primary beneficiary, how old he was. This would then get sent out via the portal for someone to approve. And just one part of this I wanted to show was the inclusions exclusions table in here, which is being generated by North52. And useful things on here is, these are showing what's included. So this is very good for an agent on a call to be able to see what's included and talk to their customer about. And things like, this one's got a waiting period on it of 6 months, but what is that actual end date? So they can tell the customer directly that's the 30th of November, that's when that's going to be covered, that particular part of the policy. Now, the final part of this demo is going to be looking at the claims process for you've got your policy here, now you want to be able to make a claim. So what we have on the portal thing is North52 in practice. Of course, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes as well from a North52 point of view, from a claims processing point of view. But I just want to show and highlight where North52 can help on the portal form side of things. And so we're going to open up a draft claim here, and we're going to just simulate adding a claim item here. So we've already got one, so let's add another filling to number 11. So all I want to do is add the claim item here, and since we've got North52 loaded, I'll show the formula for some of this as well, which allows us to set this. We've got field validation here, so that once I select it, you can see that it's gone to a tick. If I choose fillings, we're going to have to fill in some additional information here. It pops up a diagram here showing what sort of tooth, which tooth, was it or routine, when was this loss occurred, pre-populate, let's just assume that it's the same on the same date. And then once this has all been validated in here, we're happy, we can submit that, and then behind the scenes we get whether it's being approved or rejected. And we can see here that part of it has been approved already based on the North52 rules. And let's have a look at some of the validations that Logic has gone through to get that decision. So we can see here under the assessment, first thing we do is we check to see that it is covered. Fillings is within the coverage dates. They were within the policy dates. We will claim up to 70% for fillings, which is why we've got a claim amount of 120 and the actually adjusted is 184. We've got maximum coverage per person. Previous claims are within the allowable quantity. There's been previous claims of 84, and and the maximum amount has been made claimable. So you can see there's a lot of this logic that's gone into creating this assessment in here. And the form-based validation is done by North52 formula here. That loads, which is tied to a portal form. Again, this is just all point and click. There's no code required from an end user's point of view to set up these formulas. So this one here is tied to a form, which is tied to a web form on the portal. And this loads, we'll be able to show it. While that's loading, let's just go back to this one here and have a look at this piece up the top here. Again, this is another North52 UI piece, which allows progress bars, all again driven by decision tables and decision logic, which is very easy to set up. Hopefully our formula is loaded now. We can have a look. Nope, it's taking a long time to load, but once we get there, it should. There we go. Look at the source and target. So this is on the claim detail entity, and it's going to be triggering off some properties which are tied to this form here called the information events form. So on load and on change of various fields, we can see in here. And for this one here, let's have a look at the per tooth one, because that was one that we were sort of looking at earlier. So we can see here the condition is based on per tooth, whether the tooth number contains data. If it does, we're going to showing the fields of tooth number, set them to required, then we're going to set a notification image or clear it, depending on what rules we've got in place here. So if we've got it per tooth and doesn't contain data, we've got different notifications being shown. This one here we can see here is an error for an image. And if it's not being selected at all, we're hiding it, setting it not required, with clearing the fields, clearing the notifications, etc. Again, all this is able to be done using our functions from the left-hand menu here, and just point and click configuration. Click save. One of the deployment options down here is here. So which portal do you want to associate this with? So once we select that, click save, we do all the bindings necessary for you to do that. So that was a real whistle-stop tour of North52 functionality, covering a lot of the Power Platform, and hopefully you can see value there. The idea is that wherever you've got any sort of complex logic and don't want to maintain any code, you can use North52.
Bruce, I'm always...
Hopefully that's impressed you.
No, Bruce, that's brilliant. I'm always blown away by what people are able to achieve with some of this technology, and to actually see it in action, colourful, in front of me, live, and like an old pro battling the environment gods there as well to show us that demo. It's absolutely fantastic. For everyone who's kind of tuned in and perhaps missed chunks of that, where's the best place to go for them to get a live demo? What's the best way to contact and reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, from our website to north52.com, or just send me an email, bruceb@north52.com as well. And not only do we do, just a demo, bring us your requirements, and we're happy to work on a proof of concept as well, just show you exactly how we can, give your projects real value. Happy to, get involved in those proof of concepts.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people who'll be taking you up on that, because you've definitely done a fantastic job despite battling the elements there. So, Bruce, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure as always. Great to see the product in action. It's definitely always an eye-opener for me. So that's a big thumbs up from me. But I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Have a fantastic week. And thank you everyone else for joining us.
Thank you. Been a pleasure.